Welcome back to For the Love of Men podcast. My name's Courtney Shand, and I am hosting with my friend Bree Mosier.
Hello.
The intention of the show is to bring together men and women to learn how to honor each other's natural masculine and feminine energetic core so that we can create healthy, polarized relationship dynamics. Before we get started, if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, we have created an entire infographic with the top 10 qualities that are naturally impressive to both masculine and feminine energy people. And so we have compiled that information along with some exclusive content just for our email list. We've been mapping that out. Super excited to get that to you. So go ahead, sign up. We're going to put that in the show notes. And if you're interested in getting access to us working together on your situation, we have a group coaching call designed specifically for that. All right, now that that's out of the way, I want to introduce you to my friend Bree because she's amazing at what she does.
Thank you.
Her mission on the planet is beautiful. Tell them about it.
Thank you. My work in the world is helping women come home to their bodies, their pleasure, their feminine energy, and create both really healthy love with empowered masculine men, attract and create that love, and scale their business or their dreams or their career goals. I work so well with the ambitious woman who also wants to soften into her feminine. That is my dreamiest client who has the most success working together. So if that interests you, show notes have all the details, as with the monthly newsletter and the group coaching call. And Courtney, our work is so similar but so different. Tell the people what you do.
It's amazing. Yes, I am a relationship mentor. I work really well with helping women who are looking for more emotional maturity in their relationship dynamics. This means learning how to empower their own masculine energy so that they can start expressing themselves more confidently in the world, whether that be in their business or work or kind of passion projects, relationships, and dating. The more we can show up as a authentic and well-boundaried person, the more likely we are to create that authentic connection and find that soulmate level relationship. I love helping women with empowering that version of themselves so they can show up as a queen in the dating space. So
amazing.
Yeah, that's what I do. I love it. And today's topic is so fun. So last week we did an episode on the nice guy and what's happening. And we want to dissect the dynamic of what's happening energetically with a nice guy. This has come up multiple times this week. So it's primed and ready to go. And we want to talk about it.
We're excited.
Yeah.
And if you haven't already, listen to the two episodes before this. There's one on non-threatening versus safety and protection, how to discern that energy difference in the masculine people that you're dating. And then there's also another episode on polarity. So those are going to be fundamental keys for this last part to kind of click and make sense. Highly suggest listening first and then come back to this.
Yep. Yeah. Great intro. So what would you say is overarching in the dynamic with a nice guy? In your experience, what has been your experience
with
feeling, the felt experience with being across from a nice guy, and B, what is happening dynamically?
Okay. Just what's coming to me now is I get the sense that I have more masculine energy than they do. And you feel it from them, that there's not a container for me to soften into. We can hang out and be friends and I would like them and get along, but there's not polarity and chemistry and attraction because I can feel internally that my masculine energy, my leadership, initiative taking, decision making, space holding energy supersedes his at that moment. And so I'm experiencing him as more of a friend than a lover, than a potential partner. That's what it feels like to me. What does it feel like to you?
So what you're saying is the polarity breaks down because you, at that moment, are holding yourself firmly enough that there's not an additional masculine energy to create that tension. Is that...
Yeah, you know this, right?
Yes.
For there to be polarity, polarity means there is chemistry and attraction. It means there's a feminine pole and a masculine pole. Again, we have a whole episode on it. His masculine energy has to be stronger than hers for her to start considering the idea of surrendering, of opening up her feminine, of leaning back, of being held in his container. And I don't know that this is, well, for some people it is a conscious decision. I'm thinking about it. But before I knew about masculine, feminine, it was subconscious. I was just like, why can't I lean into him? What? Like, he's physically attractive. We get along. It just feels like a friend. Where's the oomph is kind of what I would feel.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad you said that. I should have just asked you more directly. Yeah, there has to be polarity for us to want to like lean into our feminine energy. As the feminine energy, that feels very safe. So my experience across from a nice guy will be kind of similar. I find that it almost, I get irritated with having to hold myself when that's what I'm looking for. It's not like irritated, like, ugh, but it's going to be a consistent questioning of like, should I be doing something different? And it does trigger that wounded feminine as well, to turn in on yourself and be like, is this a me thing? And so I guess what I would be calling out is that the dynamic is what's unattractive at the moment. It's not a you thing, it's not a him thing. The dynamic that's being created is not going to create that attraction that you're looking for. And so that is going to be like feeling. If you go on a date, it's just going to feel like
buddies.
Hey, bro.
Buddies, because you're both sinking into the feminine.
Yeah, you're both kind of neutralized.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it.
Because I'm having to stay integrated and hold my own feminine energy. I'm not going to be able to reveal that as deeply as I'm looking for. And you're neutralized too. So the polarity between the two of us, it's just two neutral poles.
Yeah. Yeah, so if you are a masculine energy being and you get the feedback of being friend zoned or that you're the nice guy, this episode's going to be really supportive. Because I know your heart is in the right place. You're kind and loving and wanting to celebrate women and make her happy. And we just want to give you this last piece that's going to create the chemistry, because you already probably have the makeup to be an incredible partner.
Yes.
We just want to give you that fire.
I'm so glad you said that.
Yeah.
Again, I love that. So what would you say creates the fire? Do you want to talk about that, or do you want me to talk about that?
I'll say the first thing that comes to me, and then maybe you go with the second one.
Yeah.
Okay, boundaries. Really, leadership energy. That's a better way to say it. You are leading your own life. That's what I'm looking for when I'm dating masculine partners. Are you leading your own life? Are you taking initiative? Do you know who you are? Do you know where you stand? Will you stand up for it? Right? You back yourself so much that you'll stand up for it. That's the sturdiness that the feminine is seeking. She wants to know that she can lean into you and you won't collapse. You've got boundaries, you've got direction, you've got stableness, you know who you are, you have value, you have principle. That is the oomph of container that she's looking for.
Yes. Yeah. Ooh, I love that. And to go back to what you were saying, it has to supersede hers. The more empowered you are as a man, the more empowered partner you're going to be attractive to.
Yes.
Because we are looking for at least compatibility, if not someone that creates a little stretch, not a wounded stretch where I don't feel good enough for you, but like, all right, this last 5%, I can get on board with that. That like creates an upward current of inspiration versus a wounded, like, 60% gap of like, they're out of my league, or I'm out kicking my coverage, those kind of terms. That's not what we're talking about. This is going to be like, hey, we're eye to eye for the most part, and I am so attracted to the fact that you've refined this boundary for yourself. That inspires me to bring out the best in me. That's going to create that healthy polarized dynamic too, because boundaried people like boundaried people.
Yeah, 100%.
The more work you do on your boundaries to clarify them, the more safe you're going to feel by other people's boundaries, because people who have boundaries of their own tend to honor other people's boundaries. And that is a real green flag for me when I was looking for a partner, was, are they clear enough on their own boundaries? Because that means when I express mine, they're going to be honored at least, or it's going to create a very clear divergence of, hey, we may not be a good fit, and I can respect that and move on more cleanly, instead of this like weird enmeshed situation that tends to happen when we're both kind of like amorphous, blobby type energies. We want to have some clear, this is me, I always tell people boundaries help people see us.
The most genius thing she's ever said. Say it again.
Yeah, boundaries help people see us.
Yes.
And it's the truth.
Where are you? We don't know unless we know your boundaries. Who is she? What shape does she have? What matters to her or him?
And we talk about this with women all the time, is actually men love your boundaries because they can see you. Yeah. It's only going to trigger people who have weaker boundaries when your boundaries are not clear. Mm-hmm. When people have clear boundaries, it will trigger people who haven't clarified their boundaries, but for people who are attracting people who have boundaries, it's going to be very obvious and easy. That's the feedback that you're going to get from a feminine partner, is it's easy to be with you because I know where you stand. I know that you're going to back this or this, and we may not agree on it, but you can at least hold the space for me to have my boundary and you to have your boundary, and there can be some space between us.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
100%.
Yeah.
For me, I trust people who have boundaries.
Yeah.
And I do not trust people pleasers.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're around a people pleaser and you can identify it, you never know if they're saying and acting in a way that they really want to and is authentic to them, or if they're trying to earn your approval and appease you. And that doesn't feel good. I want to see who you are. I want to know, like, where do you want to go to eat? What do you value, right? What standards and boundaries that are upheld in your life? Do you want chocolate ice cream or vanilla? Just tell me.
Yeah.
And that takes a level of knowing yourself and liking yourself.
Ooh.
And being confident in yourself enough to say, I really want the chocolate ice cream and they really want the vanilla. Great. That doesn't mean that you're less worthy of being liked. You just have a difference of opinion. I'm using a facetious example, but you know what I mean. It's someone who's so confident and secure that they can bring something to the table that might not be agreed with, but they're still standing behind it because they back themselves. That's the oomph. They don't need your approval or validation. Right? So then you can bring in two whole and complete people who aren't seeking validation other than the normal human level of we all love validation.
Sure.
They're not trying to derive their self-worth from you choosing them. And that is what makes it healthy, and that gives you that. She's like, oh, I can trust you because I can see you. And because I'm noticing you're not collapsing to make me happy. No, that's hot.
Yeah.
That's hot.
Yes.
Yeah.
I will also add that in our experience, I know we've talked about this too, of when we were understanding healthy masculine, integrated masculine energy, it will trigger the feminine to see your boundaries, for them to be like a clear boundary. And it also triggers a deeper level of trust. So it can trigger the wounded feminine part of us that needs to clarify, how do I feel about this? What is my boundary around this? Where do I stop and you begin? But the fact that you have clarified where you begin gives me the space to come closer to you in intimate dynamic. Does that make sense?
And be my authentic self. Because you being your authentic self gives me permission.
Yes.
I want to clarify one thing too. We're not saying not to negotiate needs where things are clashing. Definitely negotiate. But when you're negotiating with a nice guy, the nice guy tends to collapse and kind of give in to what she wants and swallow his own stuff. An empowered masculine is going to say, I really value your thoughts, feelings, opinions, needs, desires. And I want to meet those. And I have these values and principles that really matter to me. How can we collaborate so that you feel celebrated and honored, and I also feel like this is something that I can provide, that this feels aligned for me too. It's collaborative instead of like the nice guy dynamic is kind of like he puts her on a pedestal too much and puts himself down here, and empowered feminine women are seeking eye to eye.
I love that you said that. It's not an either or. Like, we aren't collapsing for your opinion or my opinion. It's like we are both standing here and creating a third option. Like, both of us are now looking at how do we create a third option to move forward with.
Yes.
One that honors both of us. Yeah, and it energetically feels very different. Yeah, and I think we've said that. But it also allows us that individual process of like, hey, here's where I stand on this, here's where I stand on this. That gap in between can feel really uncomfortable and triggering, and it also gives us more clarity. It's what we talk about on our channel. Like, our content may trigger you with the hopes of clarifying for yourself. Is this true for me? Do I want to continue moving forward with this person? Do I maybe need to recalibrate and challenge the way that I have been doing things, and now I have new information and create a new truth for myself to move forward with? Or is this a hard no and we just part ways? Either way, we're still solid and secure in who we are, and we can part ways more cleanly with less emotional upheaval because we're not collapsing core boundaries of our own.
Yeah, such a good point.
Yeah.
So good. I think another thing that comes up with the nice guy energy is, you hear us say this a lot, and you probably hear a lot of women say this: we just want you to make a plan and tell us, be ready at 7, take us to this place. We don't want to have to make the decision. Even especially the most empowered feminine woman, self-sufficient, self-responsible. Courtney and I are great people to speak to on this. We've both owned our own businesses for years. And so we have really empowered masculine energy. The thing that would turn Courtney on the most that her boyfriend could do would be plan the whole date and say, I'm picking you up at 7, so that she can let go of that masculine. That's why women are seeking someone who has more than we have.
Glad you clarified that.
Right?
Yeah.
The nice guy, from my experience, tends to come in with, what would make you happy? What do you want me to do? I'll do whatever you want. Let me know where you want to go. And she's like, I don't want to make a decision. I just want you to plan the whole thing and take initiative. And I want to be a puddle. I want to surrender. I'm always the container all day at work. And I just want to, but we can't do that if he doesn't have the masculine energy to hold us. If he doesn't have the direction, the initiative. That's why it's so important. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. I'm really, really glad that you clarified that. It's a transference of, that is an actual term, I'm not meaning that, but like we get to transfer the plan making, decision making hat. We get to take that off for a while in your presence, which is a valuable skill for us to be able to do, so that we can sink more into our emotional experience, our presence, our femininity gets to come online around you. Yeah. And what you were just saying of what would make you happy, this phrase is also a very empowered thing to ask.
Right.
The difference energetically is that when an empowered masculine energy man asks what would make you happy, it's a supportive energy. It's not a bow down kind of, or not like a,
How
there's
can I
not
make
a
you
hierarchy.
happy? Just choose me. Yeah.
Yeah. That's needing to be parsed out a little bit more on my end, but there's a difference in terms of how it's received, that he is actually wanting to add to, not cater to. That makes sense.
Yeah. What I hear you saying is, he has his own sense of direction and initiative to go, here's her desire, how can I play with this and make it fun for us?
Yeah.
Versus, here's her desire, I'm going to go fully online with what she wants so that she'll choose me, she'll pick me, she'll validate me.
Yes, I love that. I think the difference is that you are taking the initiative with what you bring to the table. That's the distinction.
He is.
Yes, you as the masculine energy partner. He is taking the initiative to use his creative resources and his, like, okay, here's the vision. I'm going to build something that goes in that direction. That requires a ton of masculine energy, and the nice guy won't be doing that. It will just be following the rules of what she's mapped out as the path to her happiness. Empowered masculine energy men catch the vision of what would make you happy, and they build more so that it's like an even more
amplify.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
See what we just did? We co-created it together.
Amazing. So the skill, I think, with this is learning to hear people's boundaries. We're going to do a whole episode on this because I get charged up around it.
Boundary queen.
I get charged up around it.
Put it on.
Crown back on.
I've crowned you the boundary queen. Tell him.
My head's hurting. That's why it's not on today.
Well, she always wears the dang crown.
I know, but my head's just kind
Head
of
must
tender.
hurt. TikTok will be disappointed.
I know. Gosh, TikTok's going to eat me alive. Either way. Okay, no, but the skill is to learn to listen to what people value. We often will fall into this people-pleasing role when we are not able to create that distance of this is them and here's me. We're listening for how do I feel about it, what is my thought on it, instead of what does this show about them. That's a really empowering question, is what are they telling me about themselves that I can see? And that's going to be their boundaries. We're going to be listening to what do they value, what enhances their experience, what's their experience like, what have they learned that has allowed them to create this boundary for themselves. We will be taking it much more personally, and that's where that wounded feminine is going to get really triggered when someone does reveal a boundary. But if we were to think about it as boundaries are kind of like clarifying or funneling us towards the right people, I think we would set more empowering boundaries for ourselves, but we will also feel empowered by people's boundaries of, I'm not going to do that with that person because that's a hard no for them, instead of like, maybe, and then
I could shape
get your
shift
hand
for you.
chopped off. Yeah. Yes, the shape shifting will stop, which is actually a very empowering experience to be with and to have.
Right, which isn't negotiating, not the
Very
same as
different.
Negotiating and collaborating.
Very different.
Shape shifting is, what do you need? I'll be that, which actually comes out a lot in the nice guy.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. It's the shape shifting energy because she's feeling his lack of boundaries, direction, internal sense of self. And that's why she's going, I don't know if I can trust you because I can't see you. Where are you?
Yes. It's like Marco Polo in the pool when you're kids.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Where
are you?
Yeah.
You can be like, I'm right here, I'm right in front of you, but if you're not verbalizing it, we won't know. So that internal sense of security takes a lot of masculine energy. We work with women on it, of how to, you do too.
Yeah.
Work with women on how to use their voice more. It takes a ton of masculine energy to grow up from a childlike, people-pleasing stance. And women have this too. This is not at all to add shame to the narrative. It's really clarity is our hope. But that internal sense of security of, I'm backing myself enough to set the boundary, to speak my truth, so that people can see me. And I'm willing to be with the experience of being seen. And that might look like divergence, and it might look like more of being met. The right people will be able to see you and meet you. And that's actually what we're aiming for in the empowered dating dynamic.
Yeah, 100%. I was going to say something else about the nice guy and my COVID brain. Ever since I had COVID, I get this tip of the tongue feeling. I didn't like it.
Not at all.
It will come back to me. Is there anything else you want to say? Because I remember. I remember what it was. When we started, a big part of the ethos of our show is moving women and men toward integrated feminine and masculine energy. And so Courtney and I have decided we will die on this hill that the masculine has to be integrated with his emotions, have emotional intelligence, be able to hold space in order for him to be the healthiest, most empowered, juicy, amazing, attractive masculine energy. Empowered feminine energy is seeking out a man who can meet her emotionally. And the best, most empowering way I know how to say it is that she wants him to also be the protector of her heart. Yeah. That's the skill she's looking for, is, can he hold space? Will he protect my heart? Will he meet me? So when we first introduced this idea, obviously the initial pushback from a lot of men was like, won't this get you friend zoned? If you're meeting her emotionally and having those feelings-based conversations, is this going to get you friend zoned? And Court and I were both like, what? How would that get you friend zoned? But I understand where they're coming from now, because it's this, they think it's putting them in the nice guy category. And I want to be very clear. You can be emotionally intelligent and integrated with your emotions as a man and absolutely not even graze the line of nice guy.
Nope.
Like, actually, that is an attractive magnetic thing. When I'm with a man who's so strongly holding the container for me to share my emotions and also able to meet me intimately with his emotions, that brings us closer. I trust him more. In fact, that he's able to share his wants, needs, desires, what's working, not working for him, that's a boundary. That you're taking shape now. I can feel you because you're sharing your emotions, right? So not only do we have more intimacy, but you're actually more in your masculine by stating those things and being the structure for me as I'm unpacking. And in those feelings-based dynamics, feeling-based conversations, polarity often kind of like moves around. You know, it's not just like she unloads and he holds it. It's usually, I'm just giving one example, she might unload and he's holding it, validating, seeing her in an emotionally intelligent way. And then he's probably going to have some stuff come up too. And he'll be able to offload it onto her. And she'll be holding for a bit and navigating how he's feeling. So it's not as cut and dry as you're in the masculine, you're in the feminine. It's a very fluid dance. And there's an art to it. And Court and I are actually thinking about doing a masterclass on how to repolarize after you have really emotional discussions. Because I think that's what a lot of people are afraid of. A lot of the men in our TikTok audience have been expressing that they're afraid. In different words, they're essentially saying, doesn't this kick us out of our masculine energy? And it doesn't. And it's actually vital to have a healthy relationship, is to be able to have those emotional conversations.
Yeah.
Just do it with the oomph behind it.
Yeah. Yes. And I love that we talk about it from an energetic stance, because it doesn't make, it's not black and white. You aren't emotional and feminine for sharing parts of your emotions. And I love that you said that polarity can get flipped, but this is where the energetics is really important to be aware of, because if someone is always the one emoting and the other person is always the one that is holding the space for it, that's actually not going to create a healthy dynamic either. That can fall into this nice guy category too. And what we're needing is for that to flip for a moment, and then the skill is to bring it back to the integration. So that's where both people being integrated are going to be more fluid in this dance of polarity, and being able to flip it and reverse it back more confidently than someone who is has gained the skill of listening. There's a lot of nice guys who we love. They're great listeners. They have mastered that part of the emotional intelligence piece. The part that is lacking is the flipping back. That skill set is to flip back and to take action from that, or to build a new way forward based on the information that you're receiving. She wants to be heard, and part of being seen is that you're taking action with what is being shared. If it needs to create a different path forward, that is some initiative on your part that can be contributed.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Genius. Yes. 100%.
Yeah. So we might do a whole episode on, or a masterclass on flipping polarity back, because that, when two people are integrated, it's easy for polarity to get flipped. We just don't want it to get locked in the reverse, or else that's going to create resentment on both sides.
Yep. 100%. Wow, I really think we've crushed this. Is there anything you'd like to add?
I feel really good about it.
Me too.
Yeah. I again think the skill is just learning to see people's boundaries and learning to speak them. That does require quite a bit of masculine energy internally. So it's not that nice guys lack masculine energy. It's just that we want it. And that might be the missing step that's keeping you from feeling confident in moving things forward.
Yeah. Instead of treading around her, you know? We're going to do another episode eventually on perpetrator energy, which will be really great we're going to focus on, I think, delivering it for the women to discern EMs versus nice guys versus perpetrator energy, because there's another differentiation. There's another, right?
Iteration.
There's another
archetype.
Iteration where an empowered feminine woman is looking for someone who has stronger masculine, but then she picks someone who's actually wounded masculine and isn't emotionally integrated, because he has the oomph, but she doesn't know quite how to discern what it feels like to be with a man who has the oomph, the masculine, and integrated feminine. That is the honey and the sweet spot. So we're trying to arm you with all this knowledge so that you can just pick the best partner for you. You know?
Yeah. And continue growing. Continue creating polarity. It's an ongoing learning process about yourself. Yes, and your partner.
So good. So, don't forget to join our newsletter. In the show notes, there is a link where you can put in your email, and you get this awesome infographic that we made for you around the 10 qualities that impressed men about women and that impressed women about men when we surveyed our community. You'll get that, and then you'll get
how to create it. That's the most important piece. How to create more of it.
Yes.
This is an active homework assignment, not just, hey, here's what we like. It's here's how to get that.
Right, how to create a dynamic where she's revealing more playfulness, revealing more self-responsibility, all these things. So join that. We're going to give exclusive content there as well. It won't be on the podcast, won't be on TikTok. It's literally just for our email list that we're going to make. And if you want to work with Courtney, go in the show notes. Courtney, what do you have open?
Yeah. For this information, I actually created a men's program around this. It's called Rooted. It's empowering that masculine energy so that you have that sturdy structure for yourself to support the life that you are wanting to build. It is comparable to my feminine program, Arise, but it is a lot about empowering that masculine energy within so that you are expressing yourself in a way that people can see you, and that is going to create the sturdy structure for you to build a life that is congruent and empowering for you.
Genius.
Mm-hmm.
That would be a great program to take if you are, quote unquote, the nice guy and you want to shift.
Yep. Yes,
Rooted.
that's actually what I designed it for, to help that particular archetype. I don't talk about it very often, but it's there. Yes. I love that one. So,
and it's in the show notes for them.
In the show notes, and CourtneyShan.com. It is self-study. I find that it works really well with a few one-on-one sessions. So, yeah, it can be either way. If you want a little bit of guidance and kind of tactical, analytical, very laser-focused coaching of where to look and where this is happening, and some direct feedback, that would be really great for the one-on-one version. Otherwise, self-study, the information is really helpful in my opinion, and from feedback. So.
And they could always get the course and then buy sessions with you too if they wanted, right?
Yep. I do have individual sessions as well.
Cool.
Yeah. And you? You work with men as well. What do you have?
I work with men as well. I don't have a program like Courtney does, but it would be more one-on-one, and my specialty is helping them see how they're being received by the feminine. So when we're on a call and you're sharing with me what's going on in your dating and relationship world, we even role play on how you would approach a woman, what you would say, how you'd navigate these sticky conversations, and I will let you know in my body, how is that feeling as a woman, what I might want to hear, what might help me open, what might help me trust you more in those moments. So you get that inside scoop on how you're being received, and then how to shift that to keep the polarity alive and keep the relationship really healthy. And I work with women as well, as does Courtney. So I am enrolling one-to-one spots for women who want to embrace their feminine, scale their business, attract healthy, empowered, masculine love, embrace their pleasure. That's my favorite subject in the world. So show notes have all the details on that. If you love the show, share it with your friends.
Yeah.
Please. And please, we love your TikTok comments. Those of you that are leaving kind, appreciative comments, thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so happy.
They feel so fun to read.
Yes. Okay.
See you next time.
See you later.